The White House has got the best. Hey, yes.
I don't know about all that. You don't know about all that? Hey.
It's like the internet, half the stuff on there is live.
Yeah. You say moves, everybody's gonna,
Let's talk about something else.
yeah, it's nice to meet you. You too.
All right. Good morning. We'll go ahead and get started. Thank you for being here. All meeting attendees must sign in at the designated sign-in sheet at the podium over here at the entrance. Any electronic devices must be turned off or muted so as to not disrupt the meeting. Any individuals wishing to address the board must do so from this podium. Please adjust the microphone and state your name before making comments. For anyone getting beer permits or applications, we have beer or Tennessee ID books over here provided from TriStar that you can use to check against the IDs for fake IDs. And then also we have Hamilton County Coalition in the room that does the beer card training. If you need that as well, we can connect you with those folks. Is there a motion for the approval of the July 6 minutes?
So moved.
So we have a motion from Dan and a second from Ron. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So approved. We'll move on to swearing in of the witnesses.
Anyone come to the podium and stand and raise your right hand. Do each of you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're giving today for the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. And we will now go to the temporary beer permit applications.
Representing Sound Corp's Rail and Hops Brewers Festival, Stratton Tingle is making application for a temporary beer permit for 1801 Reggie White Boulevard, First Horizon Pavilion. The organization has had a beer permit for such an event in the past. The event is scheduled for August 26, 2023 from 1 o'clock p.m. to 5 o'clock p.m. The location is owned by the City of Chattanooga and is zoned UCIV 6.
They have met all requirements from us.
Thank you. Hello, please introduce yourself.
Good morning, I'm Stratton Tingle with Soundcore. We are hosting our 5th annual Rail and Hops Brewers Festival. This year we're having it at the First Horizon Pavilion over there across from the Finley Stadium. As you know, that's kind of a naturally enclosed space. We're working with CPD as well as Global Protective Services for our security. We'll have all licensed bartenders serving beer, and yeah, it's our beer festival. We will have music on this big stage. Tennessee's Dead is going to be playing, and it's going to be a really, really fun time. Doing it in the afternoon this year rather than at nighttime, changing up the kind of an earlier vibe. We tend to pull a more mature crowd, and so that works better for them, so it's going to be great.
Questions from the board? Vince?
I just want to make sure that you've done many of these, so you understand the importance of checking ID, but you have a kids skate park right next to you. So
That's true.
I just wanted to remind you to make sure that's roped off and there's somebody that's actually positioned over there so they don't jump the rail and try to sneak in. I mean, I guess my question to you is are you going to do banding, or how are you doing the IDs?
Yeah, we have wristbands, and one thing I didn't mention is that we do have a designated driver ticket that we sell as well.
Okay.
And encourage people to bring designated drivers along with them. So everyone who receives a tasting cup will be banded with a very specific over 21 and general admission band, as well as designated driver band. So everyone inside the event should have a band of some type on.
Okay.
Ron?
This is Fifth, and what kind of crowds do you draw for this event?
Around 1,000 people is what we're aiming for and what we've seen in the past.
Changing the hours, is that going to hurt you?
I think it's going to help us, actually.
Okay.
Yeah. It's kind of an afternoon vibe. It's always been kind of like a chill afternoon vibe, and with the overhead, Tennessee Pavilion covered area and the sun not beating down on us so bad, I think it's going to work out really well.
And the fans helps too.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Cole?
Yes, how many officers are you planning on having for this event?
We have, in the past, we've used 4 officers.
4,000 people?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
In addition to another security company.
Yeah, we work with Global Protective Services as well for our licensed security.
And how many are you getting from them?
In the past, we've had between 5 and 6.
Okay. Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. All right.
Mr. Butler?
Well, if there's any other questions, I'll make a motion to approve.
So we have a motion to approve from Vince Butler and a second from Tiffany Bell. Vince?
Yes.
Owen?
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Tiffany? Reginald?
Yes.
JW?
Yes.
Chair recuses, so approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next applicant representing 7-Eleven Inc., doing business as 7-Eleven-42112H. SEJ Asset Management and Investment Company, 100%, is making an application to engage in the sale of carry-out beer at 4396 Amnicola Highway. The group has not had a beer permit for this location in the past. The location is owned by 42112 Chattanooga, Tennessee LLC and is zoned M1.
And they have met all requirements.
Thank you. Good morning. Please step up and introduce yourself.
Good morning. My name's Don Poplar. I'm the district manager for 7-Eleven here and cover the Chattanooga market. We're just seeking our beer permit to open our new location on Amnicola Highway.
Okay, great. Questions from the board? Mr. Smith?
Yes, is this a LLC? Did I hear that?
It says it's Inc., 7-Eleven Inc.,
Okay.
DBA.
Yeah, okay, I got it.
Corporate.
Okay, got you. That's all I have.
Oh, okay. Next question. Mr. Mayfield?
Tell me about your internal training, and we know about training your employees and what systems you use to confirm people are 21 and older.
Yeah, we have our in-house system. They do electronic video training before they're allowed to even touch a register, usually in their first 3 days of employment. It's an hour, 15-minute course they take. They get recertified every year, once a year. And then as far as checking IDs, we have it to where they actually have to scan the ID through our register system before they can sell tobacco or alcohol. So
It actually locks them out.
Yes, correct.
Where they can do that. Okay. If there's no other questions, I'll make a motion, we approve the application. Y'all have really spent a lot of money here in Chattanooga.
Okay, who said the second? I'm sorry. Okay. So we have a motion to approve by Dan Mayfield and a second by JW Cole. Vince Butler?
Yes.
Owen Seaton?
Yes.
Ron Smith?
Yes.
Dan Mayfield?
Yes.
Tiffany Bell?
Yes.
Reginald Washington?
Yes.
JW Cole?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, so approved. Thank you for doing business in Chattanooga.
thank you. See you again in 2 weeks.
Thank you.
What did he say?
See you again in 2 weeks.
Oh, yeah, okay, good.
Keep opening them.
And it's a big store too.
Next applicant representing Get Rich Entertainment LLC, doing business as Studio 58. Terrence Jones is making an application to engage in the sale of brown bagging at 4817 Highway 58, Unit 121. Mr. Jones has a consumer beer permit and has had several temporary permits at this location in the past. The location is owned by Terrence Jones and is zoned C2.
So he's met all requirements. I just wanted to bring to everybody's attention, this is a brown bag permit. I know that this is something that, at least since I've been here, it's new. Well, new but not new. It's been in the ordinance. I just don't know that it's been something that has been regularly enforced per se, or even inquired about. So this was a learning process for myself and also Mr. Jones. It was quite a bit of hurdles for us to jump through to get this working through. So between working with the city attorney's office and the city treasurer's office, we were able to get it online to where Mr. Jones could apply. So it's just been a process, and I just want to appreciate everybody, or I just want to say that I appreciate everybody's assistance in helping get that on the website for us so we can offer that to the city.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you for being here, Mr. Jones, as we all learn this process.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. All right, questions from the board? Sorry about that. Mr. Seaton?
Mr. Jones, thank you for coming in. And I know in the past, when you've been before the board, you've really showed a willingness to kind of make sure that you're working well with CPD on things. Since you don't have a TABC and you're not serving spirits, I would strongly advise that all your employees still go through training to especially identify people who are overserved and how to manage those situations. Because the spirits are out of your control and you're not the one serving them or bringing them on premises. I think it would be really good if all of your people, employees, go through that training. And I think that'll go a long way, especially, if and when you need CPD to come out.
Yes, sir.
And I think that would be a really good thing.
Half of my staff have had the training, but since then, I got like a couple of new employees. I do plan on them getting the training also.
Good.
Great, thank you. Mr. Butler?
Hello, Terrence. I just want to, again, kind of reinforce what Owen said is the responsibility for brown bag is no different than the responsibility of your beer permit in over-serving and people leaving your establishment intoxicated and getting in a car and drive. So once they come there and you do a brown bag, your liability continues. So I just want to remind you that just like over-serving a beer, it's still over-serving with a brown bag still applies and could put your beer permit in jeopardy. So just remember to monitor it because they have the bottle of liquor. They can just keep on drinking as much as they want to drink.
Yes, sir.
So, all right, I just want to remind you, but I'm glad to see you coming back to get the brown bag, and we all learned something new.
Mr. Smith?
Yes, Terrence, how many servers do you have? How are you gonna have this set up? I mean, are they gonna be able to?
It's one bottle per person, and it's not the big bottles, just the smaller. I guess I'm not familiar with the alcohol size, but I guess the liter size, the smaller size.
And how, as far as getting their setups and everything, how are you gonna manage that?
I do serve ice and setups and stuff like that, but that's the only thing, that they can get from me.
You just charge them for a setup?
But
Yes, ma'am.
Is there anybody that's gonna be serving setups, keeping count, or trying to monitor how much one?
I have in-staff security who kind of monitors, who go around inside just to monitor and make sure everybody okay. Along with college protective service on the outside.
Okay.
So I have in-staff security and I have security guards outside.
How many security guards are you gonna have?
My business has been kind of slow, so I just been running 2 to 4 right now. If it pick up, then I plan on, of course, bringing more officers in.
Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Cole?
Yes, Terrence, good to see you this morning. What's your plan for observing the intoxication?
Well, I changed my dress code. I changed all my rules, but like I said, I got in-staff members who's gonna go around inside just to make sure we don't have anybody intoxicated. Anything like that. I do serve peanuts, chips, and I do offer food and other, accessories along with drinking.
Okay. Okay. Mr. Mayfield?
Terrence, you can see our concern is you've got to monitor. So don't hesitate to call Uber for somebody, one of your patrons, if they're in there, even though they're brown bagging and they're intoxicated, say, I'll call Uber for you.
I do that on the norm. I don't let anyone.
I know you do. Yeah, I know you do. But you have to be diligent about it because the rate of consumption is kind of out of your control. So, but I'm very excited for you. I hope you're very successful.
Thanks a lot, sir.
All right.
Mr. Smith?
Yeah, you say you have food. Is this a full service?
No, it's just small orders. I pretty much do pre-packaged stuff.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question for you. Is it brand new open bottles, or they haven't opened until they come in, or they've already been open when they come in?
They come in a brown bag, and pretty much all the ones that I had have been new. But I haven't had actually if somebody try to bring a bottle that's already been drinking. But I do have my security who's over that. So if anybody who comes who's already been drinking or seem like they out of control, we don't let them in the bar.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say that's a good rule, and also like if I've not done the brown bag permit, that's why I asked that question. But I think also too, if there was a way your security like drew a line, if it was opened or something
Yeah,
that
if
you know what
somebody
they're
already,
starting from.
if somebody already come drinking from somewhere else,
Yeah.
I just try not to let them in because they ain't had enough. If I feel like they ain't had enough, then I just don't let them
It's a
in.
good practice. It's a good practice. Thank you. All right, Mr. Mayfield.
If there's no other questions, I'd like to make a motion, we approve the application.
So we have a motion to approve by Dan Mayfield and a second from Reginald. Is that correct? Thank you. Mr. Butler?
Yes.
Mr. Seaton?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Ron?
Ron, yes. Mr. Mayfield?
Yes.
Mrs. Banks? Mr. Washington? Mr. Cole?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, so approved. Thank you for doing business and good luck.
All
Thanks a
right.
lot, y'all.
Thank you.
Don't hesitate to reach out if you need any help, Terrence.
Appreciate it.
All right. Next.
Next applicant, representing grown folks, Shanika Shepherd is making an application to engage in the sale of consumer beer at 830 Dotson Avenue, Suite D. The location is owned by J.T. McDaniel, and I believe the zone might be C2 or R1 according to the system.
So I've got Mr. Wiley here from Codes that can kind of explain why they were rejected. So at this time, I can't say that they've met our requirements. I'll let Mr. Wiley expand on the other.
Okay, thank you.
Good morning. My name is Zachary Wiley. I'm a code enforcement inspector for the city. So the issue with this one, why it was rejected, was there is a church within the 500 buffer there across Dodson Avenue on Rawlings at 2200 Rawlings, the Ark Church, and so with the entire property is within the buffer there. And so it is C2,
Okay.
where across the street, where they wanted to, where the business sits, but it is within that buffer of the church that is kind of across and diagonal from the business.
What church is that again? I'm sorry?
The Ark
The
Church,
Ark.
A-R-K.
Okay.
And I do have a call into EPB to see if there's active service there. If it is active, I haven't been there on a Sunday or a Wednesday night to actually see people coming and going. However, I don't have that information as of yet.
Okay.
I guess the city attorney could interpret if that matters, but that was the reason for rejection on our end.
All right. Vince Butler?
What's the address of this?
830?
I'm just trying to pull it up on a map so I can see it. So all the whole property is within the 500 feet?
Yes, sir, that's correct. So that property sits across the street, Rawlings Street, kind of tees straight in. You see Rawlings Street on your map there?
I'm pulling it up now, so
Okay.
I'm sorry, give me a second.
No worries.
And that church is still active.
So it was just, if you look on Google Maps too, it was just kind of remodeled and a new sign put up a couple years ago. It still appears to be active. The property is still being maintained. But again, that's the extent of my knowledge as far as the goings-on of the church.
Okay, so this is, let me ask the question. Is this a name ownership change of a permit that's already been issued, correct?
So my understanding is in the past that Mr. J.T. McDaniel has had an establishment there in the past, and they've had beer permits there. So I don't know if there was something in the code that grandfathered them or what that may be.
Okay, I can answer that. So, Mr. McDaniel did have beer permits at this location, but they were revoked. And according to the code, I think it's section 575B1, if a property hasn't had a beer license or served beer within the past 6 months, these distance requirements apply. So even if they were in a position to be grandfathered in, it wouldn't work here. Because this location has ceased to sell beer for longer than 6 months.
Okay.
So I'm still active. So this is the night owl, right?
Oh, like, what was the previous location?
The Night Owl.
Night Owl. and-
The Night Owl.
Gentleman's
Okay,
Club.
so it's not, I guess what I'm trying to figure out is, so JT had the beer permit that was revoked.
Yes,
He has not, if I remember correctly, he never filed an appeal. He just let it sit there, correct? Or he filed an
he
appeal? or-
filed an appeal.
Okay,
We went to court last year on it. The revocation was upheld.
yes.
I have not seen a reapplication.
Well, once it's revoked, he has to reapply, a new permit has to reapply, so you can't even do the name ownership change.
Right.
Okay. But, so then I guess my question is, so when they do a new application, it voids the, I guess the grandfather clause that JT had,
Right.
is what we're saying.
So.
Okay,
Even if there was a new permit, then it's still, the distance requirement still
applies now.
applies here.
Well, it didn't apply to JT because JT was probably there before the church was there.
Right.
So it should never been a name ownership change.
Right, that's-
Exactly.
yeah, it shouldn't be it should be a new
Yeah, because
permit.
that license has been revoked and the courts upheld it.
Right.
So you can't change something that's revoked.
Right.
Correct. All right.
I do have pulled up the map with the 500 buffer circle, if anybody on board.
Now, where's the church at? I'm just looking at, where's
Is it
the
a
church
buffer
at?
circle or is it an egress to egress? Because that's what I,
Okay, who do I take down this talking about?
one sec, yeah.
Well, So I guess my question, that I asked is, now that I got the map to pull up, where's the church at? I see 830 Dotson, where's the church at?
That's correct. 2200 Rawlings Street.
So directly across the street.
Right.
Right, it's the second, I believe it's the second property off of Dotson, headed west down Rawlings, if I'm correct with my direction.
825?
Should be 2200 there.
Oh, that's it.
Mhm. It's,
So that's, so we're, these 824.
he's 830 per the application. And then if you look across the street and you go west down Rawlings Street, out the second or third property back, you'll see a 2200 there within that blue circle. The circle is the 500-foot buffer. That's correct, sir.
All right, thank you. I'm done.
You're done? Okay. All right, Mr. Washington,
So what area was this, this is zoned for what you, the.
C2?
The building that they're trying to open up, what is it zoned for?
C2, it's commercial zone, it is.
So if it was a UG, well, it's not though, but if it was something else zoned, then they could have.
Well, they still could there, and I could have approved it, I could have approved it if it would have been outside that 500-foot buffer. Because it is on-premise consumption, we do the 500-foot buffer, you know, per the code on that. So the church that sits across the street at 2200 Rawlings is within that 500-foot buffer from 830 down to 2200. And the entire property for both addresses, not just door to door, but the entire property is in the buffer on both sides. So there's no other way to look at that one.
Okay. Mr. Washington? That was you? So Tiffany? I don't know,
Yes.
it jumped from you, yeah.
So it does look like the church is open. They are having services there too.
Okay,
I just checked.
okay.
Okay.
The other property is maintained and the sign is newer, so.
Owen?
My question is really just procedural. I mean, since this isn't a name ownership change, is there really any more to talk about, or just they need to do a new application and we can consider that? Or do we, I mean, according to what I'm hearing from the city inspector, like,
Yeah, it sounds like a new application wouldn't be approved either.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
They would have to go to a different location.
Vote on that, or do we just vote on, since it's not a.
We don't have to vote.
Since it's not a name ownership change, like what's the, procedurally, what are we supposed to do? Are we supposed to vote on, are we supposed to deny, or are we supposed to not have them reapply and then get denied?
And that's the thing, because for that building.
I think the cleanest way to do it procedurally is to vote to deny the application.
How about approve the zoning inspector's recommendation?
Well, I mean, you have to take action on the actual application, so it would be to approve or deny.
Okay.
the-
All right, Vince?
Okay, what's the zoning again?
It is C2 commercial zone.
C2 commercial?
That's correct.
And, okay, I'm gonna ask this, I would like to give him an opportunity to say something, but, my question is more for the city, why this wasn't flagged earlier and why it came to the beer board. It should have been flagged, I would think, as the application process goes forward, just raise it to, before it comes to us. So that's my first question, but then go ahead and answer.
So I can kind of answer that. So that, the timeline process, right, on
Yeah.
OpenGov.
Yeah,
We all know and love OpenGov, right?
yeah, yeah.
So OpenGov has a step. Well, I think zoning is the third or fourth step, I believe.
It's right before legal.
Right.
It's like one of the next to the last steps. So they're gonna be able to do their initial part and everything before it gets rejected on that
Right.
part.
Okay,
So that's another flaw in OpenGov, unfortunately.
okay.
The only information that was missing until right now was, I was unaware that the previous permit was revoked.
Yeah.
As well, so that the
Which
name
goes to my
change wouldn't
question
be
is,
valid.
it
So-
came in as a name change when
Right.
you can't change
So I
name.
didn't see that anywhere.
Yeah.
What I can view in OpenGov or anything like that. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Bertha and I were having a discussion, Ms. Lawrence, and she wasn't aware of it either at the time of the intake review, which is really when it could have been caught and stopped at that point in time.
Yeah.
But because that information was not available to us, then it went through the process, which then came to us for zoning, happened to be
Right.
within the buffer and rejected on my end as well, but that would have been where it would have needed, the information would have been key, because then it could have been stopped at intake review and
Yeah.
it wouldn't have gone further,
So
even to
my
me.
follow-up to that, Catherine, are you sure the court issued an issue on the appeal? Because I thought Fleener had never issued an opinion.
It took her a while, but she did it.
She did?
I pulled
Okay.
up the order.
So she did finally issue a decision on that one, okay. So,
Oh, yeah.
okay, so I guess my last question, this is really for planning and zoning. How far is this from I think it was the UBC zoning?
Which type of zoning?
What did Shady's Corner do?
UGC.
UGC. How far is that from the UGC, area?
So, that's a good question. Right there, you have a C2 block, and I'm trying to see, you've got R3 mixed in there. The church is in what appears to be an M1 area, and it looks like UGC might start on the 900 block of Dodson on the other side of 910, because
Yeah.
it's still C2 there. I would have to go to a different map to confirm for some reason on the
My
address
advice is
scooper.
to go
No,
to-
sorry, this is actually R2, so I don't see,
Yeah, that's the only way
I
you
don't
can.
see UGC
Okay,
right now. I see R2, R3, C2, and M1
Yeah.
right now,
That's the only way.
and then
that-
R1.
All right, so JT would have to go back, and the only zoning that allows it to happen within less than 500 is UGC. That is exempt from that restriction. So if JT wants to go through and reapply for the zoning, then he can go down that route, but that's the only way I can see getting around that restriction. And there was a bar that got approved, Shady's Corner, that got approved, that's right next door to the Islamic Center. Against my wishes, but that's the law. So, but that's JT, and JT would have to go change the zoning of that building to UGC from what it is today, which is C2 commercial. So.
Okay, did you have something, Dan?
I would like to hear, I know they want to say something.
No, I want them to speak too. Dan, did you have something? No, I'm good. Okay. Yes, Mr. Cole, go ahead.
To now, what's that time frame? Even, just to see, even to have them here? I know that's gotta be tough before they speak. By the time you got it, you recognize that it is
It is, so that process happens in the RPA, which is a dual agency there with city and county. It would have to go through their process, which could take approximately 90 days to get it onto the agenda, and then it could be 30 to 60 days if they can get all the paperwork in and get approved by the cutoff to get onto the hearing, and then it would have to go before the board. And then I am unsure as to if it's similar to the city council ordinance where it takes 2 weeks after that. I'm not sure,
Yeah,
but
public notice.
it could possibly take 6 months. If there are snags, speed bumps, it could take longer, you know. We've seen them take a lot longer than that. It just depends on how simple it is.
That's the only way you can get around that, without a speed.
Wow. All right,
Okay.
all right, thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Wiley. We'll let the owners speak. Please come up and introduce yourself.
My name is Shanika Shepherd.
Nice to meet you, Shanika. I'm sorry for you to come here and hear this bad news today.
I know, I didn't even have a 24-hour notice as to being rejected for zoning, but this is a very lengthy, inconsistent, and stressful thing trying to apply, because I've been doing this for over a month. I probably have 30 emails back and forth with me and Bertha. It's just lengthy. Website is not clear. It gives you all the wrong numbers. We took like 3 weeks to even get in touch with a fire marshal to get an inspection. Horrible experience. And then to get on the agenda on Monday, to get an email Tuesday night that the zoning is rejected. And I know it made reference to the night owl, but I guess that 830 is just one building, but there's other things in there. So I wasn't taking over the night owl. I was next door to the night owl. But
it's multiple parcels, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay. Vince?
So if I understood you, maybe I misunderstood you, I want to make sure you clarify. So you're not going in the space that used to be the night owl?
No.
Well, then that's different.
It's multiple parcels.
Well, I know that, but there was a permit for Gentlemen's Club, I think that's what it's called. There's a permit for night owl.
Right. Both of them were revoked.
Are you taking?
Gentlemen's Club.
So that wasn't revoked.
You said both of them were revoked.
No, only one was.
I'm talking to Catherine. She said both of them were revoked. I'm trying to make a record.
But that's wrong, it wasn't revoked. Only one was revoked. Night Owl was revoked, Gentlemen's Club was not. So if you're going to the Gentlemen's Club, then it's different. And that's why I want to make sure we're correct, because that's different. That would be, I think Gentlemen's Club is still active, right? I don't.
Is it still within 500?
But it's exempt.
But it would have already been grandfathered in, I guess.
It's grandfathered in.
Because it was already had a permit.
It was in existence before the church was in existence.
Right.
Therefore, it can operate.
And we didn't revoke the Gentlemen's Club.
Okay.
We only revoked the Night Owl.
Okay, Catherine's checking.
All right.
Now, there's a door that connects the two, and that was part of the problem.
Yeah, I remember.
Because and then that's another issue we got to address on it too. I mean, this goes back when I first got on the board. That's a long time ago.
I was gonna say, so, yeah, because I feel like another person came in and was renting another parcel of this building at some point for a different permit.
Yeah, there's two
But I
fair
don't know, I
permits.
can't remember who it
Yeah.
is at this point.
While Catherine's looking, can I hear what grown folks is?
Yes. More like, I don't want to call it a club, but more like a lounge, targeting like 40 and over.
Okay.
And so you're just gonna be serving beer,
Yes,
only beer?
yes.
According to the order from the court that was entered on July 25th, 2022, the beer permits for both the Night Owl and the Gentlemen's Club shall be in herein are permanently revoked.
But we didn't revoke, the board didn't revoke both of them.
This is the order from the court.
I
the
know that,
Chancery
but-
Court. So
That's what counts.
I'm just telling you what the judge said.
But and I'll go back to what the beer board voted was to revoke one. So I don't know, you may have to go get an attorney and litigate this out, but the beer board only revoked one permit. This is probably this is right when I first joined the board, so this is going back 5 years, I guess, 6 years. And we only did the night out. And we gave a suspension to the Gentlemen's Club. And, because there was like multiple violations that happened. And then Dan and Ron, y'all were here, and I don't know if y'all concur with that, but you may need to get an attorney just to make sure, but I think this is my opinion, I'm not a judge or not an attorney, I'll frame it that, but my memory is that it was a night out that got revoked. Gentlemen's Club still retained their permit. Which would, but then I didn't know Fleener actually ruled, and so I know you got the order, so
Right.
I'll leave it in y'all's hands.
And I will also say this order was never appealed, so it's a final order.
Okay, all right, well.
Mr. Smith?
Yeah, I just want to say my remembrance is that there was other issues because of this petition that they could pass through the wall, that it was all really one place. Even though it was Gentlemen's Club and the Night Owl, it was really just one.
That one door that opened.
Yeah, right. And so I think that's maybe what's showing up here. I don't know, but that's my remembrance, is that we had a problem trying to figure out if it was one or both.
Yeah, I think we suspended one and we revoked one to basically force it into one place.
Right.
If I remember correctly, the discussion with their board, and this is.
But if that order should stand, I mean, based off of what we did or what we thought.
Mr. Mayfield?
Catherine, what I'd like for us to do is I'd like for us to look back in the official record and look at the transcript of the meeting where we made that ruling. Because I'm remembering the petition and the back and forth, but I'm not necessarily remembering that we did one for one and one for the other. I'm not saying that's not true, but I'm just going, and it might be helpful for us because this, even though the court order is the court order, so it's out of our hands in that respect. I'd still like to know, just as a member of the board, to make sure that somehow we said one thing and by the time it got to the court, it turned into something else. I'm a little, because this is the difference of whether they can operate or not, is what we're talking about. Even with this court order, we know they can't right now, but
It still wouldn't be within 6 months.
no, that's true. So there's a lot of things, but just for my own edification is primarily. Thank you.
I will look into that.
I would just like to add for the record that this is a case that shows us how we need background information on these locations, to be attached to these records in OpenGov. Because otherwise, we're all trying to rely on our memories and everything else, and that's not fair to these business owners.
Excellent
I mean,
point.
so in OpenGov, when the address comes up, it should list former businesses and what permits they've had. And I know that sounds probably advantageous because somebody's got to put that data in, but otherwise, we're all sitting here paralyzed, and it's a little ridiculous of how this process goes out. Mr. Butler?
Okay, let me ask a question to Catherine. So if the board never revoked a permit, suspended it, and he did not appeal that, because I think he served that out. Again, I'm going from memory on Gentlemen's Club. But the court came back and Fleener issued a ruling that suspended both locations. Does the judge have the ability to revoke a license that did not get revoked by the beer board? And if the judge has the legal right, then it's a moot point.
So when a action by the beer board is appealed to the chancery court, it's reviewed by the judges de novo. And what that essentially means is that they start from the beginning.
Yeah.
Like, yes, the record is filed and the court can refer to that record, but it was like we were trying the case again.
Yeah.
Right? And so the court heard everything and made that decision. So I can't speak to whether or not the court had the authority to make this decision. All I can say is what the court did.
Okay.
But what I think is that because the court heard it de novo,
Yeah,
it put them in a place to make this decision.
okay. So my next question is, do you have a record of what that, so you pulled the permit for the Gentlemen's Club, which is one, I guess, building over or suite over? What does it show the status of that beer permit being? Because we tagged it with a night owl, but I'm kind of curious what the status of the Gentlemen's Club permit is in our system.
Know if I can see that part of OpenGov.
And then which goes into, I guess my follow-up question to that is it expired? And if that permit is expired, then it makes this whole thing mute too, because then they have to reapply for the permit if it's expired, if JT did not keep that permit active. And I don't know, I don't go down Dotson that much at night, so I don't know if that's still a establishment or not.
So I just observed something here in OpenGov.
Yeah.
If you can pull up beer 739 is the permit. Looks like it's under John T. McDaniel.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And the permit is for 830 Dodson Avenue. Now, it doesn't say unit or anything like that.
Okay.
It looks like from April 7, 2023 to December 31, 2023.
Okay.
And that's, I mean, looks like it was issued April 25th of this year.
This year. Mhm.
Maybe it was a renewal. I'm trying to find it.
See, I think this is the one that came in for the other parcel. That's what I'm saying. She was just here not long ago, and we asked her about going into the other side, and she was like, no, I'm not going to that other side.
I got you.
I think it's the same one that came up, I think.
So I guess my question,
Okay.
830 Dodson Avenue, Suite D.
Let's see, this one just doesn't have a suite. It just says 830 Dodson Avenue.
And this one,
And this says it's a JFT Beverage Center?
Yeah, that's another one. I think that's another.
That's a building.
That's, and there's like 5, is there 5 suites in there? I think there's
Four.
it's 4.
Four
Okay.
suites.
There's 4 in there. And then he had, the beverage center was 1, Night Owl, Gentlemen's Club, and then I can't remember the 4th one. What was in the 4th? Was it what was it? Yeah, I think it was like a boutique or something. Yeah. I mean, I'm going, God, that's so long ago. I think it was
He's
some,
in the audience, if you want to speak.
so this is Beer 49.
it was some sort of club is what I'm being told.
It's
Okay.
a gentleman's club, and
Beer 49?
and the permit was issued on April 25th, 2022, which makes sense because that was during the, I guess, the appeal process.
can we,
And so the permit was issued on April 25th, 2022. But if it was issued on April 25th, 2022, it expired in December of that year.
Yeah, because they don't let their calendar year.
Right.
you want to say that? I think we need to do research.
I think it needs, yeah. Mr. Seaton?
I'd like to make a motion that we pass this to the next meeting and do a little bit more research on what existing permits are for the property are there, with whether or not we're in the 6-month window for a name change and an exemption on the zoning, and just drill in a little bit more as to the property and make sure that, you know, we're giving every opportunity to pass this if a legitimate reason to pass it exists. And, you know, and make sure that we've done a little bit more homework as a body, for the city on this.
Okay. Yeah.
I just got one thing. You seconded it, right?
I will.
Okay, everybody needs to use this and take turns and not speak over each other, okay?
Thank you. Please, I'm trying to make a.
I mean, I'm trying to follow it, but everybody's talking. All right, Vince?
Okay, did Ron second this, or did?
Not yet,
Okay.
no.
I will second it, the motion, but I want to just make sure that if we can answer the question that I would like to answer. I think we should find out the answer, what happened and I'm going back 5 to 6 years when the board originally voted, and just make sure my memory is right, and I'm going from memory. But I'm pretty sure I remember this, because I kept on asking, has Planner made a decision? It was just the night out and not the gentleman's club, so we can go pull the transcript, please, and look at that to confirm, so when y'all take this back up, that you can know what happened 5, 6 years ago, and what the decision was, and then I guess the city attorney can decide if did the court think she was revoking both, because we revoked both, and made an error, and then which goes into a legal issue, and I'll defer to the city attorney's office on trying to figure out where you go from here, but I do second Owen's motion to defer for 2 weeks to give some time to research and confirm all of the nuances of this application.
Thank you. Mr. Cole, did you have a question?
I do have a question, just to get clarity also on the active beer permit. It's just 830 Dotson, what suite? I think they got to start declaring, give clarity on that as well. So I'll vote thereafter.
I think that makes sense as well. All right. So we have a motion from Owen and a second from Vince. Vince?
Yes.
Owen?
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Tiffany?
Yes.
Reginald?
Yes.
JW?
Yes.
But chair votes yes to pass into the next meeting in 2 weeks, so we can do further research on this and get this cleared up for you. Thank you for your patience.
And we apologize.
We apologize. We're working through this with you. We're sorry.
Sorry.
Okay. Next applicant.
Next applicant representing Shri Mahakala, MAA Inc., doing business as Eagles Food and Fuel. Devang Patel is making application to engage in the sale of carry-out beer at 5902 Shalford Road. The location is owned by Dilip Kumar Patel, and I believe the zoning might be M1,
Yes.
according to the system.
Why are we not getting zonings on these anymore? Is that, Ms. Bertha, are you not getting the zoning information?
I didn't get it on that one.
This is, there is a,
Is this 5902 Shalford Road?
Correct.
Yes.
It's number 4 on here, M1 manufacturer approved.
M1.
Correct.
Thank you. All right.
They have met all requirements from us.
Thank you.
Hi, good morning, everyone.
Good
My
morning.
name is Devang Patel.
I'm sorry, say your name one more time.
Devang Patel.
Devang. Thank you, Mr. Patel. Tell us about your business.
I'm sorry?
Tell us about your business.
Yes, good. Like I have the Eagles Food and Fuel,
Okay.
the gas station.
Uh-huh.
So I have to apply for the beer permit.
Okay. Any questions from the board? Mr. Butler.
Hello, Mr. Patel. Thank you for coming today. Can you talk about how you're doing checking IDs and how that process works at your store?
We have the register inside the system, scan the ID, and otherwise we can put the manually date of birth so we can check the years of age.
Okay. And then I just wanted to remind you, when you do get, if the board does approve today, you have, I always forget how many days, 60 days? 60 days to talk to Calandra over here, if she would raise her hand, and you have to schedule your employees through beer code or the beer board training program.
Okay.
Just get trained. So that's something new that's that we required about 2-3 years ago to start doing for all beer permits if they're not serving liquor, which I'm making the assumption that you're not serving alcohol like liquor.
Yeah.
Okay. That's it on mine. That's it.
Okay. Mr. Mayfield.
Yes, are you taking over an existing store?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's operating and doing business right now?
Yeah.
Okay, but you're going to be the new owner.
Yeah.
There probably is a beer permit at the store. If we issue you your new one, you'll need to return that beer permit to
Bertha.
Bertha, thank you.
Okay.
To Bertha, so she can mark it and you'll sign it. You need to sign your name on it and put surrendered in the date.
Yeah.
If you would do that then. Okay, very good.
All right. Any other questions or motions?
Make a motion to approve.
We have a motion from Ron and a second from whom? Mr. Cole? Vince Butler?
Yes.
Mr. Seaton?
Yes.
Ron Smith?
Yes.
Dan Mayfield?
Yes.
Tiffany Bell?
Yes.
Reginald Washington?
Yes.
J.W. Cole?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, so approved. Thank you for doing business in Chattanooga.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Next applicant, representing Community Pie HP LLC, doing business as Community Pie, Hamilton Place. Michael Moaning is making an application to engage in the sale of consumer carryout beer at 2006 Hamilton Place Boulevard. The location is owned by 2006 HP LLC and is zoned C4.
Bear with me, I was just looking at the permit one more time here.
You're good.
I looked at it yesterday, and I haven't had a chance to pull it back up this morning, but it looked like we were only waiting for legal, so I didn't know if that had already been signed off on or not this morning.
Actually, I did have a question. I didn't see the fire inspection report. Was that submitted?
What'd you do?
Finally, Chuck, it's your time.
I have a copy of it if you need it.
Like, I didn't know.
No, I'm sorry. Tenley Brown.
Tinley Brown.
Yes.
Okay.
Chuck Hartung, Chattanooga Fire Department. Community Pie has passed their fire inspection.
Okay.
Thank you, Chuck.
That was the only question I had.
So legal is approved.
So I will sign off on it now.
So they're good to go?
Yeah.
Okay, then they have met all requirements.
All right, thank you. Good morning, Tinley.
Hi, good morning. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. Any questions from the board? Sorry, Vince, hit it again. I cleared it right as you hit it. Sorry. Go ahead.
Thank you for coming today. I'm
Absolutely.
excited when you actually open this place up.
Yes, we're very excited.
Talk about how you do your training. I know you have a new location, so, but talk to or share with the board how you do your training.
Absolutely.
I know you serve TABC, you have a TABC license,
Yes.
but kind of go through that, please.
Absolutely. So we have an entire operating team in each restaurant that goes through a 7-day training process with each of our employees. All of those training sessions are done one-on-one with somebody in an upper level management. It can either be from our bar manager to our general manager up to our operating partner at the store level. They all take it very seriously. We have digital ID boards on the wall, although they're an eyesore. We definitely require our bars to have them and make sure that they keep them up to date on a regular basis. We talk about IDing and the safety of serving alcohol on a daily basis. We talk about it in lineups. It's a constant reminder. We take it as seriously as we possibly can to take that liability to be restaurant operators.
You done? Any other questions from the board or motions?
Make a motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve from Owen,
Second.
second from Ron. Vince Butler?
Yes.
Owen Seaton?
Yes.
Ron Smith?
Yes.
Dan Mayfield?
I'll recuse myself.
Tiffany Banks? Bell, sorry, I keep saying that, I'm sorry. Reginald Washington? J.W. Cole?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, so approved. Thank you for doing
Awesome.
business in Chattanooga.
Absolutely. Thank you for your all's time.
I just want to change your name today. I don't know why I keep saying that. I apologize. All right, so that is all of the applications. We have no record violations, thank goodness. And then we have a record application.
Representing Mr. T's Tire and Towing, Randy Johnson of 7309 Edgefield Drive is making an application for a towing record service to be placed on Chattanooga City Tow Rotation District 4. The business to be licensed is located at 7206 Lee Highway. The company will use for towing a 1996 Ford F-550 wrecker and a 2018 Ford F-550 rollback. The vehicles have been inspected and meet all qualifications of the city ordinance.
And they have met all requirements with us.
Great. Good morning. Please introduce yourself.
Good morning, Board.
Randy Johnston, Mr. T's Tire. As you can tell, I'm a little nervous. I haven't been before the board before. But anyway, we've been in business for over 30 years. We're asking to expand and add a wrecker service.
Okay, Mr. Butler?
Good morning, Randy. How are you doing today?
Good morning, Vince.
I guess the only question I really have is, it's more to, how many records do we have within, what district is this? This is District 4. How many records do we have?
How many companies?
Or how many companies?
I'd have to look. We currently have 5. This would make 6.
Okay. And then I guess my question for Randy is, I'm assuming you've read the record code and you know all the ins and outs and your responsibilities if you're added to the tow list.
Yes, sir, Vince. I have read it. My son's read it to me. Thank you. Again, I might need you to explain it to me at some point.
Don't look at me, no.
You may not be an attorney, but you do a good job.
All right, that's all.
Mr. Smith?
Yeah, state your last name for me again.
Yes, sir. Johnston. It's misspelled on the paper,
Okay.
sir. It's Johnston.
Okay, that's on the application spelled incorrectly?
On the paper that I received today, sir.
Okay, on the agenda, okay, cool. One more question, is this an LLC?
No, sir. It's a corporation.
Okay, that needs to be included in the application, does it not? Corporation?
Needs to be
And that's the way the license needs to be put.
Okay.
So do we need to add that to the Open Gov?
Bertha's looking.
Business type corporation. Yes. That's what I said, Tom, sir. Yeah. On the application, it shows business type as corporation.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
Good, thank you.
Next question, Mr. Mayfield.
Randy, that's my neighborhood out there.
Yes, sir.
You have moved from where you were now to the old East Side Utility District building, haven't you?
That is correct, Mr. Mayfield.
Is that a fence? Do you have a fenced-in area behind it back there to store towed vehicles and things?
Absolutely, sir. Mr. Officer Mosier came out and inspected it. My son said he actually walked over every inch of it.
Good. Well, that's what I thought. I just want to be sure. I know y'all been in business out there a long time.
We started on Main Street, Mr. Mayfield.
Yeah.
Over 30 years ago, then moved to the other Lee Highway operation. I tried to buy that. The lady wanted to sell it to Park Ridge. She said I didn't have enough money, and she was right.
I understand. Thank you. I just wanted to make sure about that fenced-in area back there because I knew at one time there was some fenced area, but I didn't know what the status of that was. So thank you.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Cole?
Thank you. Mr. Johnston, currently you're a tire company going
Yes,
into
sir.
being a record?
Yes, sir. We're an automotive company. We do brakes, tires, wheels. Our mainly lifeline is tires because that's where we started. And we'd like to expand. My son built him a new house. He said, I need a raise. And I said, well, we're going to bring in more money. So,
Right. And how long have you been in the tire business?
over 30 years, sir.
Over 30 years.
I think 1992, if my memory serves me correctly, is when we started.
All right. And you're starting out with one record or two? What did I hear?
We've got 2 records now. We got a rollback and a wrecker that we purchased from Denton's. And the 2018 is actually a brand new rollback, but it had been used for a demo to go around to other shows and say, if you want to buy one, this is what they look like. And so even though it was a 2018, it's got, I think, less than 1,000 miles on it. But anyway,
Wow.
So we were very fortunate. Miller Industries up in Ottawa, I called them about buying one. They said I could not. I had to buy from a dealer. And Dickie Hutzel, as most of you folks probably know, he said, Randy, I know where one's at. It's in Virginia. He said, but I'll get it brought down here to you. And I said, let's do it. So,
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Smith?
If nobody else has got any questions, I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, we have a motion from Ron Smith and
second.
and a second from Dan Mayfield. Vince Butler?
Yes.
Owen Seaton? Ron Smith?
Yes.
Dan Mayfield?
Yes.
Tiffany Bell? Reginald Washington? J.W. Cole?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, so approved. Thank you for doing business in Chattanooga. All right,
It's spelled right on the applications. Okay, just don't make sure.
Mr. Mayfield.
I have a general inquiry about record information. I overheard Sunday a fella having a conversation with someone where his car had been towed and had been in the storage for 4 days, and it cost him $600 to get his car back. Now, I didn't want to, I was overhearing this conversation. I was not in it. But I was wondering if I overheard him talking about the confusion of where's my car. We've discussed all this ad infinitum, but I just want to bring it up again. He was a younger fella and he didn't know where his car was, and took him a while to find that. And then when he got there, it was $600. He didn't have the $600 to get his car. So it's kind of one of those scenarios that we've talked about before. So I just wanted to share everybody that we need to be as diligent as possible on the records if we can. We know, for instance, Mark is here, and we're all very familiar with Mark and the people that I consider leading the industry and trying to do the right thing. And we've just got to stay pretty diligent on it because of the potential for abuse. It was just something that I listened, and I wasn't shocked, I'm afraid to say, but it was not a good conversation to listen in on, because it's someone who is young and he was at work working, so it wasn't a scofflaw or something like that. And so I just wanted to re-emphasize that. Thank you very much.
Of course, no problem. Mr. Butler.
Just to add on to what Mayfield said, maybe that's something if and when they ever created, the Transportation Board can take up. I know we've had multiple stories of that issue, but anyway, he stepped out, so he's not here, but I want on the record, Tom Wadsworth is retiring.
Oh, wow.
So he stepped out. I was going to commend him for everything he's done and doing these books that TriStar does every
He's been
year.
here for years.
But he's officially retiring in August.
Wow.
So Eddie's taking over, so maybe Eddie will continue the tradition of coming here. But if y'all see Tom, he's going to go, he's still working. He's going to take another, retire from TriStar after, almost 40 years, I think is what he said. So I just went on the record that I appreciate everything he's done for this beer board over the years, and doing these books every year and showing up and working with the beer board on many things. So
And working with many events.
And many events.
Many events in town.
And I hate that he's retiring, because it's a good one out there. And I'm sure Eddie will step up and will continue the tradition, but I hate that he is now retiring. So congratulations, I guess.
All the good ones deserve it. They deserve to retire.
I know.
Yep. Mr. Smith?
I was just going to ask Mr. Mayfield on was that a city call?
I don't know any of the details.
Okay.
I don't know. It might have even been a private tow. I'm not sure.
Okay.
So I don't know the details.
It just brings up a common confusion on that, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. All right, so now we have no beer violations, woohoo, thank you. We're at open discussion, or no discussion. Anybody have anything else you want to discuss while we're at that point before we go on to public comments?
Just one thing. Morning, Board. Chuck Hartung, Chattanooga Fire Department. I need to put on the record the phone number for the fire department because apparently applicants are being instructed to call either zoning or building
Okay.
to get their fire inspection.
Uh-oh.
We are not zoning, we are not building, we are the fire department. And the phone number for us, 643-5618. That is the Fire Prevention Secretary with a voicemail.
Say it again.
423-643-5618. We are not on OpenGov. We're still in the, excuse me, in the people business. So we go toe to toe.
Oh, really?
By design, Mr. Butler, by design, we were going to stay toe to toe. We were going to stay person to person. Because of the aforementioned things that are happening with OpenGov, ours is seamless, comparatively speaking to the problems that have been mentioned to the board today, as long as they've got the right phone number, which hopefully they will be able to get that from now on.
Thank you.
Any questions for us? Because we want to make sure that we take care of your applicants that are coming down here. So just for that, 5618 is to get a person, not a queue, not an email. That's a person.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Just for the record, that's the number that's in OpenGov.
Beg your pardon?
That is the number that is in OpenGov.
That is?
Yes.
Okay. Like I said, it was mentioned 3 times today that they didn't know they were supposed to have a fire inspection. They didn't have the right phone number for a fire inspection. So I just, again, I will give you my office number if you need it. I'm just never there.
What? Oh, sorry. I thought you were pointing down at your agenda. Go ahead, Ben.
Hey, Bertha, again, I'm gonna show my age on being on this board before OpenGov. I know when they did application, they'd always come to your office and they have a packet with an instruction sheet on there. Do they still do that, or it's all been moved to OpenGov? Oh, okay, never mind then. Okay.
I have no contact with anyone here.
Okay.
Well, you can, once they start the application, you can like message with them, but other than that, yeah, it's all intuitive.
And sometimes they don't understand.
Yeah, yeah. Old days. All right, so next we're going to be open, yeah, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Zach Wiley, LDO zoning. I just had a clarification question on the beer permits, on a new permit versus a name change or an owner change. On the changes that aren't new permits, do the buffers apply? I just want a clarity on the record, clear answer.
Yes, it does.
They still do apply?
They
Because
still-
I've gotten, it's just been some discussion amongst our office, so I
Right.
want clarification on the record.
Well, let me explain. So if it's just a name change and they've still been operating and it's for some reason in a non-conforming zone, like let's say a church opened within the buffer zone, they're still able, as long as they're still like serving or in operation within the past 6 months, to open in that location, right? But let's say it was a location that stopped serving and a church opened, right next to it or something. And a year later, somebody wants to open in that same location, then yes, the buffer applies in that situation.
So is there a specific time period of stopping serving to where it triggers now the buffer? Is it 90 days?
6 months.
6 months, okay.
months.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. All right, so now for public comments, anyone wishing to address the board may speak for 3 minutes. Please step up to this podium if you shall. No public comments? All right, moving on to elections. We need to nominate and vote in a new chairperson, a vice chair, and a secretary. Nominations?
I would like to make a motion to elect Monica again for her second term.
For chair? Any other open nominations?
I think Monica, I'll speak to your behalf that.
You're going to speak for my behalf?
Yeah, you probably want to pass it off to somebody else. I need to talk to him, but I'll nominate Dan Mayfield.
Any nominations for vice chair? I will make a nomination. I'm going to nominate Tiffany Bell, not Tiffany Banks, but Tiffany Bell for vice chair. I'm going to get your name right. And if I'm going to be chair again, you'll go with me. And then also, any other nominations for vice chair?
So,
And then there's also secretary, because then we can do the votes
Yeah, let's do the vote.
of each one first. All right, we'll go back. Okay, so chairperson, I've been nominated, and then also Mr. Mayfield. So we can go through and vote. Okay, Vince Butler,
Dan Mayfield.
Owen Seaton, Ron Smith. Oh, I can't say you. Tiffany Bell,
Monica.
Reginald Washington. You're not gonna hurt anybody's feelings, so like, yeah. It's like the perfect cat. J.W. Cole. And I can't vote.
Yes, you can. Your vote last, Monica, so Dan, where are you going to vote?
I think I just read that.
I'm looking at the,
Even when I'm a candidate?
at the bylaws.
Yeah, I
You're an
think
active Deer Board member.
yeah,
Yes,
I
you
think
can.
I read that too, that you
The
said.
council votes as chair and vice chair.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
it only has a difference. So Dan, you vote, then Monica. votes.
Well, it'd be terrible if I didn't vote for myself.
Vote for yourself, and Monica gets to decide she wants to be chair.
Okay, I'll vote for myself, and then it's your call, Monica.
So you get to pick if you want to be chair or not.
And it won't hurt my feelings.
Does not feel like a. Okay, yeah, I'll do it.
All right, good.
I'll do it.
What was that?
Yes,
She's gonna vote for herself.
yes, I vote for myself.
So that's
Then
good.
4-4.
So it's 4-4, we're still tied.
So do we have to just do it over? We just have to go around again, right?
Yeah, there you
Yeah, okay. I'm waiting. Catherine looks like she's reading, so I'm just waiting.
Am I looking in the right? Because I'm not seeing anything in the bylaws.
It wouldn't be up for the city council.
Policy.
Well, that Robert's Rules of Orders would come into effect then,
Just
wouldn't
take
it?
a, just do your vote.
Revote, Vince.
Monica.
Owen,
Monica.
Ron,
Dan?
Dan.
Dan?
It's awkward.
It's very awkward.
Awkward, Tiffany Bell.
Monica.
Reginald.
Monica.
J.W. Cole. Chair votes Monica. All right. All right. The chair gets the right to complain.
I missed
Okay,
one.
vice chair nomination.
I missed one.
You vote, that's who you missed, wasn't it?
No, Dan. I mean, Vince.
Vince, who missed?
Monica.
Okay.
Yeah, and you said Monica. Okay. That's what I was
Okay,
thinking.
so vice chair, we have one nomination of Tiffany Bell. Are there any other nominations?
I'll nominate Dan.
All right, so we have Tiffany Bell and Dan Mayfield thus far nominated for vice chair. Anyone else? Okay, Vince Butler, Owen Seaton,
Dan.
Ron Smith, Dan Mayfield,
I'll vote for myself.
Tiffany Bell,
Tiffany.
Reginald Washington,
Tiffany.
J.W. Cole, Monica votes Tiffany, or chair votes Tiffany, sorry, third person. So that is, what, you said Tiffany? It's Tiffany, 5, so it's,
Okay,
yeah,
good.
Tiffany's approved, yeah.
Congratulations.
Sorry. I wasn't counting as I was rolling off. Okay, so secretary, nominations for secretary.
Nominate Dan.
Dan Mayfield, we have a nomination for Dan Mayfield. Owen Seaton, you have a nomination?
I'll nominate Ron, because he'll keep straight numbers.
Ron, all right, so we have a Dan. We have Dan and Ron. Any other nominations for secretary? All right, we're gonna vote. Vince Butler, Owen Seaton,
Ron.
Ron Smith. See, it's awkward, isn't it? Dan Mayfield.
Ron.
Somebody keep count. Tiffany Bell says Dan. Reginald says Dan. JW says Ron.
Oh, my God.
Monica, our chair, votes Dan for secretary. So what number are we at?
You're fine.
5? So Dan is secretary.
Okay.
All right, so I am chair, Tiffany's vice chair, and Dan is secretary, correct?
Ron, are we still friends?
I get it.
Let's just be honest, you're all staying. You're all here. All right, thank you, everyone. Is there anything else that we need to cover before we adjourn, or is there a motion to adjourn? We have a motion to adjourn by Vince Butler,
Second.
a second by Reginald and JW.
Yeah.
We are adjourned. We all want to thank Vince Butler for his time and his commitment to the beer board for many, many years. I don't even know how many years. He's been up here.
And don't forget Cynthia.
And Cynthia too, because Cynthia's not here today. She was also very helpful. We really appreciate you.